What's going on? Um, this is a social media video, um, just explaining my current thoughts about America, as in Canada joining America, what Trump is talking about in the news. Um, yeah, basically, I'm just going to comment on that. If Canada were to join the states, which I think is unlikely, to go right across the board and join the states would be very uncomfortable for a lot of people. For example, Canadians, myself, I shot 22 when I was about 13 years old, or a little bit younger than that. I went to cadets for a day and shot a 22 at a target. That's the only time I've ever fired a gun. I've only had a gun in my hands less than maybe 5 times. So we're not big on the whole gun thing. And if you have a border, that is one thing. Oh, look at this chub, bro. Okay, fuck it. If you have a border, that's one thing that will stop guns from getting across, or whatever we want to stop, to make it's not a physical barrier, but a barrier of ideology, and it's very important. Um, the reverse could be true about something that is in Canada that they don't want in America. I think there's a lot of focus right now on the border, which is pretty silly because um, there's no there's not like a bunch of terrorists or Russian saboteurs that are in Canada that are trying to get to the States. Understand that, and our border is such that it doesn't matter what you do, that would never be stopped if somebody really wants to. If somebody really wants to from Canada, in that huge border they have, they're going to get over the border to America. Having said that, I don't know what it's called, the Five Eyes or whatever our intelligence is. Obviously, Canada is in a relationship with America and other nations where you have a full access to anything about anybody who could be a potential terrorist. So that's number one, is that nobody should be getting into Canada that has that kind of reputation or that ability or that inclination, which is incredibly difficult to root out if somebody hasn't actually committed the acts. But of course, we don't want any potential terrorists here in Canada, or immigrating to the states. We don't want to have a migration of terrorist state actors. Okay. Uh, so in terms of America joining Canada, or Canada joining America, however you want to call it, obviously Canada will kind of get swallowed up if that were an actual union. But look at what happened in Europe. Look at what happened with England being outside of the EU. Look at what happened when they put their currency together. That's definitely something. If you want to talk about America and Canada joining, well, first of all, allow work permits. If you're able to work in the States, if you have a social insurance number, um, or a social security number, as they say in the States, which is a social security number in social insurance number in Canada, then you should be able to work. You know what I mean? Should be no barriers, and that is huge. That alone makes Canada and U.S. together. Right now, we have an agreement with the states where most people are allowed to go 6 months in either one. Just being Canadian and not having a criminal record, you can go down to the states. I went down to California and spent 5 months, basically just um, on Huntington Beach, or at Huntington Beach, just skipping the winter here. Um, so that is what is in place right now. If you don't know, you're allowed 6 months in either country. Like if you're American, go to Canada for 6 months. If you're Canadian, go to America for 6 months. So long as you're not working, or if you have a criminal record or stuff like that, could stop you. You might have to, do some apply for a kind of permit if you have like a minor, um, like a misdemeanor, like a minor charge, not a felony. Sorry. So yeah, the lingo is kind of confusing me because we use a whole bunch of Canadian terms, but also like we see enough television to know misdemeanors and felonies and different lingo like that. So that's one thing. Okay. Number two, this is just stupid, but I'm just throwing it out there because I just talked about lingo. Is the metric system and imperial system? Why is it that we're in millimeters or milliliters and kilograms and the States is in pounds and ounces and like bolts? You have a 10 centimeter bolt, or it's so silly that like for example, the parts of some sort of a machine will be different from Canada to the US. Most of the system in the world is the same, but America uses a different system. And of course, I like that system, so we can adopt that system. I like inches, and pounds is what I always grew up with anyways. Like didn't even before this year, I didn't even know how much I weighed in kilograms ever in my life. I don't know how tall I am in centimeters. There's another example. I'm 6'4", but I don't know how tall I am in centimeters. So continue on this rambling political discourse. There's steps to take. If Canada joins the U.S., I'm thinking 10 or 20 years down the road that might be necessary. What is necessary right now, and I'm surprised Trudeau hasn't done this already, because I'm in British Columbia and we were really opposed to a pipeline, and he ordered the pipeline to be a federal project, and he rammed it through and made us have a pipeline that mostly was going to go to China. It's the Trans Mountain or something like that. I don't really know. The point is that we didn't want a pipeline in British Columbia. Well, we had a pipeline. We tripled the capacity. But the point is, we didn't want to ship raw oil. We didn't want to have the potential for a oil spill on our coast. Vancouver is we're very sensitive to nature, and we enjoy our seawalls and stuff like that. And we didn't want to have a calamity where there's an oil spill and and ruin everything. You know what I mean? So we opposed the pipeline quite a bit. Trudeau put it through. Now we have a situation, which is a situation that's been since 2014, and Ukraine was invaded by Russia. Now, the important thing about Canada is that we have a pipeline that's almost all the way to the coast on the East Coast, which means that it could supply oil, natural gas, everything. We have a ton of it in Alberta, one of the greatest reserves in the world. There's some say the second largest, maybe next to Saudi Arabia or Venezuela, but one of the top two or three oil patches. I'm going to get in so much trouble for lingo. I don't know if that's the right terminology, but we have so much oil in Alberta, and it would be so easy to transport it off the East Coast and get it to Europe so that you can isolate Russia, which needs to be done. It's no fucking secret right now that if Russia is supplying any oil or gas to Europe, and all those kinds of things are lifelines. And if we can choke that, we can get them to stop this fucking massacre and brutal invasion. That's just absolutely fucking ridiculous. It's it's disgusting. It belongs in the time of World War II. It has nothing to do with modern civilization. Um, and I hope it ends immediately. I hope it ends immediately, and I think the only solution, going through different scenarios in my head, thinking about, oh, what if it went to this kind of war? What if this country was involved in all that kind of stuff? The most likely thing and the most unimpactful thing in terms um, of bad things continuing because of this war is to have Russia collapse at an economic level. Um, you know, it's got to be done. Mm, that's that. So I don't know. It's an 11-minute video. Just wanted to record a little bit about my opinion and the current state of politics. Vote for me for prime minister. Just a joke. Um, unless I unless I really go crazy, and then you'll see me as running for prime minister. More like standing. More like I'll stand for prime minister. I would actually, in truth, if I didn't have to face the world for what I'm about to say, and my friends, I would actually stand. I would actually put my name in the hat for prime minister just to say my opinions. Because the thing is, when you run, if you have an opinion, like say I do about the Energy East, the pipeline going from Alberta to off of east coast of Canada towards Europe to get them off of Russian oil. If you have that opinion, that is a platform, and that's what you're going to talk about. You're gonna say, vote for me. These are my ideas. Now, it doesn't matter if you're Bernie Sanders and you don't win. The fact is you brought your opinion and you're able to send it out. So I don't care if Trudeau makes Energy East happen. I don't care if Mulcair comes back for the NDP and makes, or the Liberals, whoever Poilievre, whoever is the leader, whoever makes Energy East will benefit the world. Will fucking be a godsend for Ukraine, will help Europe, will put us more in bed with our allies. It's time to fucking get in bed with Europe and with America and fucking, get Energy East and fucking make fucking the Keystone XL. Get fucking cracking. It's not time to sleep anymore. It's time to fucking wake up and know what it's like for a country that's being invaded. That is, imagine a war's kilometers, just a few kilometers from you. If it's your country. Things in perspective, eh? It's time to really make some things happen. And we've been asleep too long. It's time to gather our allies and put a peaceful stop to this.